What's up everyone, and how's it going today? If you're new to the channel, my name is Dan. That is my 2019 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, aka the Harlequin. This little guy right here is Wrangler, my Bernese Mountain Dog, and this is the EvolvedJeepin YouTube channel, where typically we create videos where we install and review Jeep aftermarket parts. On my channel, I actually have a mini series and playlist that are all dedicated to rear view mirror dashcam systems. If you're unfamiliar about what a rear view mirror dashcam system is, basically it is an accessory that utilizes a screen and two cameras to give you the ability to record both the front and the back of your vehicle at the same time. These dashcam systems are not necessarily designed specifically for Jeep Wranglers. They are actually designed as a universal design that can be used on any vehicle. But I actually think they're a great addition to a Jeep Wrangler because one of the biggest issues if you have a lifted Jeep Wrangler with a larger size tire and a spare still mounted on the back is that you really cannot see out the back of the window using the rear view mirror. Where with these systems, you actually have the ability to mount a camera at the back of the vehicle, which can bypass the spare tire and give you full visibility out the back of the Jeep. What we have been doing on this mini-series is we've actually been reviewing units that are available on Amazon to hopefully find the perfect solution to add to your Jeep Wrangler. But I have to be honest, guys, we've reviewed 6 units at this time, and I honestly can say I'm not sure if I found the perfect one yet. I have found a good one, or at least the best one out of the 6 units we've reviewed, but it's still not perfect. One of the major downfalls about a lot of these units is the image quality of the rear view camera at night. And fortunately, I think this is just a downfall to the technology. I have heard that there are some brands working on some solutions. Hopefully in the near future, we will be able to review those, and at that time, I'll maybe be able to say those are the perfect solution. But at this time, I have one best unit, and then I have a bunch of other units that are pretty good and have different solutions. Out of the 6 units we've reviewed, they've all been different. They've all had, whether they're different shapes or different rear view cameras, different front cameras, different resolution. All of them have been slightly different. And if you want to see the details about each individual item, all you have to do is click on the link right here, which will take you to the playlist, and then you can individually select the video you want to watch and see all the details about that single item. In those videos, I show you how to install them, and I go into depth on the features and functionality that each of the items have to offer. Today's video is still going to be part of the rear view mirror dashcam mini-series, but instead of taking a look at one individual item, what we're going to be doing is a comparison of 3 of the items. The 3 items that we're going to be comparing are the Wolfbox G840S, the Azdome PG17, and the Pelsee P12 Plus. The reason I'm creating this video to compare these 3 units is because visually, these 3 units seem to be pretty much the same. For example, if you went on Amazon and took a look at them, you honestly would assume they are actually the same unit, just with different branding, but that is actually not the case. All 3 of these units are actually very different, and I'm hoping in this video, I'll be able to show you how each of them are different. Also, if you're someone who is looking for a unit to purchase for your vehicle, this might be an valuable video to watch because it really might show you the difference of these 3 units and help you determine which one is better suited for your needs. So what we're going to do in today's video is we're going to go ahead and take a look at each of the screens. We're then going to power up each of the screens and show you guys the interface of all 3 of them. Again, we're not going to go into full depth on them. It's just going to be an overview. And then after we've done that, we're going to go ahead and take a look at a comparison spec chart where we'll be able to see each of the units side by side and to see which unit is more superior over the others. Once we've done that, we're then going to wrap this video up by taking a look at the image quality and resolution of both the recording and the screen itself. That way you guys can see how they perform. Most likely this section is going to be the most important section for you guys, but I do hope that the comparison of the spec chart and the comparison of the unit itself is also helpful because I really do think you need to see a full picture of this unit or full picture of these units to see how they actually are really different. So guys, at this point, let's just go ahead and take a look at the first unit, which is going to be the Wolfbox G840S. So guys, small change in plans. Instead of going through each item by itself, what we're actually going to do is we're going to go through the Wolfbox G840S and get a baseline for all the design elements about the screen itself. Then we're actually going to use that to compare the other two and to show you the differences. So for the Wolfbox one, the first thing we need to look at is the front reflective surface. This is also the display screen area. What this is you can see the bezel here. This is where the image will not appear. The image for the cameras will only appear inside the bezels. So it's not the full size, but this is pretty common with all of these. So it's not very much different. One thing to mention is a lot of these are designed so that you can utilize them as a mirror when the screen is turned off. This one though is one a little bit of ones that has a downfall. I found when I tried to use this one as a mirror, the reflective surface was not good enough to be used as a mirror. This one seems more like a screen with a reflective surface rather than a mirror with a screen. I will show you that difference, and it's going to be quite obvious when we look at the other units. So that's something to remember when we do the comparison. Size-wise, this is a pretty good size. It's thin and long, so it does work. It is 12 inches, which if you watch any of my other videos, 12 is not the best for Jeep Wrangler. 10 is actually a better size, but 12 is usable, and it also does give you more visibility. As for its profile, it is super thin. It is not bulky in any way, which also means it's actually fairly light. So that's one real nice thing about it. On the back side, one thing to note that is not shown here is I'm missing the temporary tie downs that you would use to attach this to your stock mirror. So those are similar to these hooks right here. So they're just little hooks that attach into those locations. Because this was the first unit I ever tested out, I don't know where those hooks went. So unfortunately I didn't have them, so I couldn't put them back on to show you them. But basically they are little hooks that can be simply removed if you want to add a permanent bracket where you actually want to put the mirror or use the mirror or use this to replace your mirror altogether. So they're basically little hooks. All you have to do is simply undo a screw, those pop out, and then you can attach the bracket. One thing that's really good about all three of the units that we are reviewing, they all feature this technology on the back, which is really good because some of the other units I reviewed didn't have this, and we actually had to do some customization so that we could secure a bracket on. Where with this one, that's not needed. So really like that they include this. On the back side, we do have our pivoting front camera, which gives you the ability to adjust the angle depending on the position of the mirror. We also have ventilation on the back to keep everything cool. We have a reset button somewhere up here, one of these sides. And then we have either speakers or vents or fans. I think these are speakers on this one, but I could be wrong. They could be fan vents in there too, but otherwise another port for something. Information about the unit. On the top, we have our input ports. So we have our GPS port, our micro SD port, our camera input port, and then our USB-C power port. On the bottom, we have our power button in the middle, and then two mic locations that give this unit the ability to record the sound inside the vehicle while recording. Overall, guys, this is a pretty good unit. The quality and craftsmanship are pretty nice. Detail-wise, it's not super, it is just a plastic on the back. It's not super like high-end feel, but it does exactly what it needs to. So now that we have a baseline, let's take a look at the Azdome to see what the differences are. So this is the Azdome PG17X. So first thing you can see is the reflective surface. For myself, I find the Azdome actually has more of a reflective surface on it, but it also does have a little bit of a tinge to it. So that is one downfall to the Azdome. One thing you can really see the difference is the mirror hides the bezel a lot more, where on the Wolfbox, you have a lot more bezel visible. So you can definitely tell that this one is more of a reflective surface and could definitely be used as a mirror. Yeah, so that's one difference there. Next difference to see is the width or height of it. The Azdome is definitely a little taller than the Wolfbox, which if you want a taller mirror, that might actually be your solution, but it is a little bit taller. Width-wise, it does seem to be the same, so that's no difference. It's just the width. Next thing to think about is the profile of it. You can see this one is definitely a lot thicker than the Wolfbox. It's not heavier. They're actually pretty much the same, so that's not a big difference, but it is thicker, so it will be a little bit bulkier. I'm going to put the Wolfbox down so I can show you the back. On the back, we do have our tie downs. These are a little different than the Wolfbox. What you'd actually have to do to remove these, because they are still removable, is you actually have to peel off this rubber pad, undo 2 screws, and then this entire piece is going to pop off. So it is still possible to have a bracket to go on the back of this. On the back, we have our cooling area. Then we have our adjustable camera, which is just a little stiffer, but it is still the same. We do have 1 single speaker on here. So if the Wolfbox was 2 speakers, this is actually 1. Let's just pull this up so you can see the difference. Oh, that's the wrong way. Sorry, guys. So you can see the difference here. Slightly different. Still plastic quality. Yeah, slightly different. On the top, we have our same ports as usual. One thing I do like about this one is how it's set down. So that was really nice when you install it because the cords kind of sat in where the Wolfbox didn't have that. On the bottom, we have 2 microphone parts, again, bigger, so they're going to catch in more, and then a power spot here. Yeah, overall, pretty similar, but slightly different. So now let's compare the Pelsee P12. So let's get the Pelsee and the Wolfbox as our base. So the top one is the Wolfbox and the bottom is Pelsee. As you can see, the Pelsee's mirror finish is well superior than the Wolfbox. You don't see any bezel. Even if I go up, it's still very hidden. So don't see any bezel, and it looks pretty much like a stock mirror. You can see pretty much everything. So that is one big positive to the Pelsee P12. It definitely has a better finish on the front, and it could actually be used as a mirror. Size-wise, these are exact same size, same width, same height, nothing different there. So that's really cool. On the back sides, let's flip these around. So the anchor points and everything are pretty much the same. They actually utilize the same bracket, same mounting points. Everything on the back of these is pretty much the same. Only difference is you can see the position of the camera is a little higher than the Wolfbox, which can be a good thing or a bad thing. If you have something that's blocking this, you might want this lower, and that's where the Wolfbox might be a better solution. So that's one difference. The Pelsee does have the pivoting camera, so that's the same. On the back here, you do notice that there is way less ventilation, so you only have ventilation at the top. That might be just the through design they've done. They do have 2 points here, which I believe are also speakers, so 2 speakers there. On the top, we have our same ports, our GPS, micro SD, and our camera, and then our USB-C. And then on the bottom, same thing, 2 dot microphones, and then a power. So yeah, should mention that these are easy removable if you want to add a bracket, so those are there. Profile wise, let's just take a look at the profile to the Wolfbox to the Wolfbox to Wolfbox. You can see they're pretty much the same as well. Yeah, don't know. I actually think the Pelsee might be a little bit more profile, and I would notice that the Pelsee is definitely lighter, so it's slightly lighter. Not a lot, but slightly lighter. So one thing we'll do here is just let's compare the Azdome to the Pelsee, and the difference you see is in the mirror finish. You can see the Azdome definitely has a blue tinge where the other one doesn't. So that is something to remember. If you buy the Azdome, you will get a tint of blue on your mirror and on your screen, where with the Pelsee you might not. Everything else is pretty much the same because we already know the Azdome's a little bigger, so it's a little bigger than this. Yeah, so that's how these two stack up. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the user face of all three of the units. We will do this separate because I can only power one up at a time. And first, let's take a look at the Wolfbox G840S. The user face for the Wolfbox G840S is a good balance between modern styling and old school. What's modern about it is they use features like swiping to change the image from back to front and then to your dual image. There are a total of 3 images to choose from: back, front, and dual. One thing that's really nice that they also use for modern technology is to adjust the camera by simply swiping up and down. So that gives you the ability to change the angle of the camera. To change the brightness, you actually have to click on it, and this is where you get analog motion because you can't slide that bar. You actually have to press it to adjust it. So little old school features there. You can also old school switch by pressing the button if you feel like. Here you can also choose to record, capture, lock, and mute. So all of those are displayed here. You have your time in the top corner and north-south direction, as well as speed for the GPS. What's really nice about the Wolfbox is the way they do their system setting. They actually use icons to represent each category of the settings that you can change. So here you can select it and then change when the screensaver turns on. You can also do G setting. It's a little bit more of a modern approach on system settings. Overall, pretty good styling. I really like it. Simple, no colors, black and white. It's overall impressive system. So now that we've gone through that, let's go ahead and unplug this and plug in the Azdome PG17 to see how that compares to this one. So for the Azdome PG17, I find the user interface for this one is a little bit more old school per se. For example, you can't swipe left or right to change images. When you do swipe left or right, all it does is change the brightness levels. So that's one little difference. You also can't swipe up and down to change the angle of the camera. You actually have to press the buttons on the side to change the angle, which doesn't give you flexibility of positioning. You only have the choices available on the buttons. To switch cameras, you actually have to press the button to do so. So that's kind of annoying. That is one little downfall with this. On the bottom, you can see they're using icons similar to the Wolfbox, but a little different. Theirs are blue and white and a lot tighter, which is okay because you have the same, but you have the same thing: record, capture, different placements, and then watch it. You have your image on the side, similar to Wolfbox. You do have this little thing here, which is actually speech command. So I can tell it to turn off screen. Turn off screen. Show rear camera.
Rear camera display.
Show front camera.
Front camera display.
Show rear camera.
Rear camera display.
So that is one little advantage to this option. As you saw, a little glitchy. I couldn't tell it to turn off the screen because you have to say exactly what needed, he said. One thing to look is the system setting. You can see it's more of a list here. It's a very simple list. They didn't use icons. So it comes off a little bit more old school and less modern style. Everything's listed out instead of like icons. So would have liked to seen something a little bit more there. I didn't show it on the Wolfbox, but you do have your media capture area where you can see certain things that are going. You can watch videos, you can delete them. This is very similar to the Wolfbox, but again, the Wolfbox graphics are just a little spruced up to make it better. So comparing the Wolfbox to the Azdome, I feel that the Wolfbox is slightly on a more modern approach. That being said, this one has voice control, which makes it a little smoother because you don't really need to press that button. You can just tell it to switch. So they're kind of on par, but in different worlds. So that's one little thing. So now that we've taken a look at those two, let's go put the Pelsee on and see how that user interface is. So for the Pelsee P12 Plus, I feel that this one has the most modernized user interface out of all three. Why I say that is because of the way it uses some of its abilities. So first thing, you can swipe left and right to change images. And one cool thing about this one is it actually has 4 images. They have one dual option where the front camera is first. Then they have another dual image where the rear camera is first. So 4 images in total, front, rear, and duals. I do like that they also give you the ability to adjust the camera angle by sliding up and down on the one side. So that gives you the ability to, multiple locations that you can select, not just preset ones. And what's really cool is if you go halfway on the screen on the other side, you can do this up and down to change the brightness of the screen. So it's really cool how they divided that into 2 giant buttons. The home screen, very nice. They use icons which are colored, so it does pop, which I do like that, because with Wolfbox black and white one, they're a little hidden and harder to see, especially if you're on a black at night. So they do use that. One thing that the Pelsee P12 does, and you might notice it right here, is voice command. So with this unit, we can also do things like turn off screen, turn off screen, turn on screen, show front camera, show both cameras, show rear camera. As you can see, the voice command is actually pretty responsive. I find this one to be a little more in depth than the Azdome PG17. So that was a cool feature that I really liked about this one. On a main screen, we have recording, we have information in the top corners. There is in this area, you could have a Pelsee watermark with date, time, and stuff. I have that removed. It would also have your speed on it. That is an option similar to what you saw on the Azdome and the Wolfbox. Then if you go to the home screen, this is a really nice feature. So in their main home screen, it is basically a section with some nice graphical elements to represent categories that you can go into. Obviously, Dashcam will take you back to the Dashcam. Smart driving is actually a whole new feature that's only available in this, and it's very different. It is basically some tracking information that can be used when going forward, or at least in the front of the vehicle, and used in the back. If you use ADAS, that is basically in-front camera tracking. So it utilizes the front camera and tracks things in front of you. Like, for example, if a car is braking, the system will tell you to watch your speed or collision occurring or something. It will basically notify you to look at the road and see what's happening. It also does things like tracking all the cars, people, lane departure if you're departing a lane by accident. Lots of cool features available with that. Then you have your BSD and your LCA. Those are for the rear of a camera. They are your blind spot and behind the vehicle monitoring. So if you want more details about those, go check out the individual video I made for the Pelsee P12 Plus on my channel. Really cool feature. Then of course you have your file exploration, which basic, but again, it doesn't need to be more. The next thing that this one has is 2 settings for camera settings and system settings. That's similar to all the other ones that split up the settings, but with these, again, they're not over complicated. You click on it and it's a simple list that you can go through. So it does have some old school approaches like those lists in the settings, but I really like this settings, and I really like the way it uses left and right to change images, and then up and down to change the camera, and then up and down to change brightness, and then also the voice control. So I personally do find that the Pelsee P12 Plus is slightly more modernized than the Wolfbox, and definitely way more modernized than the Azdome PG17. So overall, user face on the Pelsee is a win for me. So guys, now that we've taken a look at the user faces or user interfaces of all 3 items, let's go ahead and take a look at the comparison chart to see how these 3 items stack up against each other. Once we finish that, we're then going to go ahead and take a look at the image quality based on the images I'm going to go capture right now. as you can see, guys, these three systems are very different from each other, even though they might have the same visual appearance and visual design language. When it comes to their hardware, software, image quality, specs, and price point, they are actually very different and definitely not the same. I hope that this video has helped you see the differences. I hope that you now have a good understanding of some of the pros and cons about each system. I also do hope that if you were in the market for one of these, that this video helped you make a decision on which one to proceed with. For myself, the unit that I am going to be keeping in my Jeep is the Pelsee P12 Plus. For me, I find that unit is the most rounded unit and best suited for my needs and my Jeep. A couple of things I really like about that unit are the user interface. I like how it is more of a modern style user interface where you can swipe left to right to change the image. I love the fact that it has two dual images. I also like the fact that you can scroll up and down to change the angle of the front and rear camera. I like the fact that it has a Bluetooth app where I can actually download the content directly to my phone. I also like the fact that it has voice command, so I can verbally change the image without actually taking my hands off the steering wheel. As for the hardware, I love the overall look of it. One thing I really like about the Pelsee versus the other ones is when you turn off the screen, the Pelsee could actually be used as a rear view mirror, as the reflection surface is as close to stock as possible. With this one, I can see things through the mirror, where with others, everything just kind of seemed washed out or pixelated and you couldn't really use it as that mirror. So I do really like that. The last thing that's pretty cool about the Pelsee P12 Plus is its price point. Based on all three of these, the Pelsee P12 Plus has the lowest listed price. And I say listed price because Wolfbox continuously sells their item on sale, where the Pelsee is not on sale and its listed price is actually cheaper than the Wolfbox. If you look at the Wolfbox on sale, the Pelsee is only $10 more. The reason I'm impressed by the price of the Pelsee is mainly due to the fact that the number of features that are available. And you have the smart driving feature if you want to use that. I'm probably not going to, but I still think that is really cool. Overall, it is just a well-rounded unit and it's priced really well. That being said, the other units are not bad. They definitely have their appeal and definitely function, and some of them do things better than the others. But for me, the Pelsee is the one that I'm going to be keeping on my Jeep. I should mention that it does have a downfall. The rear view camera is still only 1080p, and as we've mentioned before, it doesn't give the image quality at night that I need. Hopefully in the future, I'll be able to try out a camera system that actually has a 4K rear camera, but that has not been confirmed. So you guys will have to stay tuned to see if I get my hands on one. As usual, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to post it below. If you're interested in any of these items, what I will do is put links below that you can click on and purchase one for yourself. If you want more details about any of the items or any of the systems we've shown, make sure to head over to the channel and check out the individual video where I go into more details on its features and functionality, as well as show you how to install it. So guys, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Keep evolving, and we will see you on the next video.